I didn't cover this Balenciaga scandal at all. So let's dive right into that,
Nice.
Joel. You want to tell the people about it?
So I mean, I'll go into a little bit what I know about it is obviously I'm scrolling on Instagram and then there's this big scandal of Balenciaga, and then obviously when you find stuff on Instagram or social media, they dramatize things. But I think this one, it caught a lot of backlash because they're calling it pedophilia attached to the children. But
Yeah.
also, there's a lot of stuff, obviously, that goes on behind the scenes that we don't know about. But with this one here, I see these photos of these two girls. I don't know. Yeah, these photos of these two young girls, obviously models. I don't know if the one on the right is a boy or not, because
Oh,
nowadays,
good point.
yeah, it's hard to tell.
Man.
But the one on the left looks like a little girl, and they're posing in Balenciaga gear, I believe, shoes and everything. But then they have this little teddy bear, I think it is. And the one on the right with the girl with the redhead, I think it has makeup on for one, but they both are wearing the what is it S
Yeah, that's like called BDSM,
BDSM
whatever that is. Like
stuff.
bondage, something sexual perversion type stuff.
Yeah, sexual perversion type stuff on these little dolls that they have, and they have these kids posing with them. And now, obviously, it's good that the internet is raving about it because it's obviously insane.
Yeah.
But a lot of the times, things continue to backslide that I notice, but then they become normalized. So
True.
obviously, like years ago, this was never even thought of because it would be like, no, that's totally inappropriate. But then slowly over time, things society tends to demoralize, and then things become more accepted. Like for example, on the radio, you couldn't say any cuss word, zero, right? It would
Yeah.
bleep it. Now you can say like B,
Uh-huh.
S, A, and those are all heard on the radio.
Right.
So the perfect example with these kids is that they thought they can get away with it and it'll be stylish or fashionable, but it's inappropriate.
Yeah.
It's just insane. So I just thought it's a perfect example to show how like they've been attacking the kids. To be honest, this is why I started my program a long time ago. Is because the industry has been trying to attack the innocence of the children, exploiting it. Disney, all the Disney stars that you know who end up later on in life having a horrible life. Like we've seen experiences, Miley Cyrus slash Hannah Montana and her story and all kinds of stuff where they exploit these young kids are exploiting their innocence and they end up on drugs, depressed, or sexually, I hate to say sexually abused, but in some cases, they're really dealing with some stuff. So this is just another perfect example that is shown, and I'm glad people are raving about it on the internet. They're raving about something good.
Right. What's funny is like I don't I almost like what you said, people get desensitized and they just start to accept it. I
Yeah,
almost don't see what the big deal is because half the country or a third of it, the most openly degenerate people are
yeah,
fine with the so-called drag
right,
queen
right,
shows where they're doing these
right.
weird so-called sexy dances.
Yeah,
Remember Desmond is Amazing from several
yeah,
years
yeah,
back?
yeah,
Desmond is Amazing
yeah,
is it was this 11-year-old kid. He's still 11. No, I don't know how old he is. But he was dancing like he was doing a strip dance
yeah,
on I think it was Good Morning
yeah,
America with that
yeah,
Michael Strahan, former
yeah.
football player.
And they were hyping him up.
And you say that you that's why you started your business, you're getting into the industry like
Yeah,
for dancing
yeah.
and to because all the kids were just dancing to degenerate
Well, I was seeing it
lyrics.
firsthand. Like, here's the thing. I'll give you guys a perfect example because I was seeing it firsthand. That's why I wanted to do it because, for one, in LA, in the dance industry, and this goes across for the dance industry, the acting industry, the whole thing. It's all entertainment, right? So, in the advanced classes, obviously the dance teachers are playing whatever music they want. And oftentimes in Hollywood, they're influenced to do the sexual type of movement, the whole everything, because that's what sells. That's what people want to see. So the advanced classes, those are the adult classes. But these younger kids were getting so good that instead of having an advanced kids class separate from the adult class, the kids that were good were just going in the adult class because they can keep up.
Oh yeah.
So instead of separating them, they were just allowing them to do it. So they were just being influenced, and then they started dancing how they see the adults dancing nasty.
Right.
And then, one thing led to another. Now they're, their makeup is going crazy. They're wearing the short shirts. They got, the short shorts. They're doing all kinds of things. So it just was slowly, and I was watching it. I was like, man, this is insane.
Yeah.
And I came from the industry to where they were trying to get me to do all kinds of stuff. One audition, they had me before the audition started, they had you take off your clothes or take off your shirt. And then they're just looking to see, like, like, is he strong enough? And then you go to the audition. So it's a typecast. And then one audition, it was like for a modeling thing. And they have you, because they want to look at your measurements, but it's still kind of weird. Like, they have you pull your pants down so they can look and just see how you look. But it just, the way they go about it is just improper to me.
Yeah.
So I just seen that happening with the younger kids. So I try to start something else. But it's just, it's the parents, man. The parents aren't, they know that this is insane, but oftentimes they don't have a alternative. So I'm trying to just create an alternative.
Nice.
Yeah.
That reminds me of the in high school sports. Women didn't even play high school sports when my mother was going to high school. Maybe it just started in the 60s, and then they got the women in the sports, and then for tracks, let's say, or cross country.
Yeah.
The women were wearing the same type of. They were kind of short shorts. Guys didn't like wearing these short cross country shorts.
Yeah.
But the girls were wearing those same shorts and like a tank top and normal stuff. But now, like, when you go to these track meets, like, they're wearing, like, bikinis practically.
Yeah.
Like, it's gotten worse and more and more, like, revealing. And I remember they weren't allowed to wear crop tops.
Yeah.
When I was in junior high.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
It's so, it's crazy because I think that has to do, and you guys can let me know what you think, or James, you let me know what you think, is that I think it has to do a lot with, obviously, social media, because these things were not, you just knew, like, what was appropriate and what was not appropriate, right?
Right.
Because some things are just unnecessary. Like, when you go to the gym, you see outfits that are just like, insane.
Right.
It's just like, why does the tights gotta go in the, you know what I mean?
I know.
Why do we need to see the, and obviously it looks good, but we don't need to be seeing that.
Right.
Like, but it's like that kind of stuff has been like blended. The line has been, how would you say? The line has been blended to where you don't know, like, okay, is this the appropriate time for this, appropriate time?
Right.
So it's just crazy.
We do have that footage that you sent to me. Those children, they look like.
Yeah.
Describe, how do you find this clip? It looks like 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds.
Yeah.
Maybe 2-year-olds.
I think this is like preschool. I think this has to be like preschool, daycare maybe. It's so, they look so young, but the mindset of what's happening with these younger kids, from my perspective, is I see that they're growing up a lot faster than they're supposed to. So the anger is a lot stronger than what it used to be, right?
Yeah.
But because of it, they're forced to grow up sooner. So their minds feel older than their bodies actually look. So they're wearing all these like things because their mind is thinking like, I'm sexy. How you think you're sexy at 5, right?
I know. I remember thinking, I'm a man when I was like 4 years old.
But like
3
your
years
brother
old.
or your uncle or your dad or your brother was like, sit down, right? But today they're like, you are a man.
I know.
Like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's just crazy. But yeah, we have a clip here.
You see, I think it's clip 11. We have clip 11, guys. Hake came prepared somewhat. Cover your eyes, kids. So there's a little girl.
With a crop top.
Yeah, with a crop top. Very coordinated.
Yeah.
Dancing, belly dancing, and then acting like she's Rihanna or Beyonce or whatever. And there's a little boy, light skinned, black is he? Maybe? Not sure.
How do they know to do?
Right. They're like watching people. They're grinding.
Look,
Look at that. Terrible.
she like going in.
Awful.
Something you can only learn from being on TikTok.
Yeah.
Or being on social media, or having an older sister, or
watching
you
the
know,
adults
watching them doing it,
misbehaving.
Yeah. But it's just insane. It's just insane.
Yeah. When I was in high school, that was not seen or heard of.
Yeah.
And then by the time my brother came in through high school, like 7 years later, and that was like the norm.
Yeah. You know what's crazy in high school for me is the girls were never okay with the term slut, right? They were never, or like nobody wanted to be the slut or the hoe because it looked bad. But then you had one like slut or hoe,
right?
You know, that was there, who was like, and everybody was like, oh, okay, that's the one, right?
Right.
But like nowadays, it's like everyone looks exactly the same, and they're okay with it. There's girls on this show, on this YouTube show podcast that I was watching, and she was talking about how like she has like guys that she sleeps with and guys that she takes serious.
Oh,
and
man.
I was like, and she was proud of it. And there she's like, some guys I sleep with, I only call them when I want a hookup, and some guys I want to take more serious. Like she was going through the whole.
It's like what JLP says. Is like they think that they're men. They're acting like they're men.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work like that.
No, it doesn't. It's wrong. It's like wrong.
It's not right for the men to do it, and then they're suffering even worse because they're not even.
Yeah.
It's not even like normal fallen state woman.
Yeah, exactly.
It's normal fallen state man, I guess. To do that.
But it's off-putting, like with the men, like you said, the same thing. It's wrong for the men to do it, but there's just a certain thing about it. But with the women, it's when they're doing it, it's forced for one, and it's off-putting because it's like they're trying to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's pretty bad.
I really think that Balenciaga is just the tip of the iceberg.
Oh, for sure.
Hassan showed me a picture of one of these, like Hassan, explain to us what this picture is. So cover your eyes, kids. This one is disturbing if you're faint of heart, like Hake.
Yeah. So this is someone who's I believe a creative director and creative designer for the Balenciaga Adidas collaboration, which I think is
Adidas. Wow. I didn't know Adidas was involved. Kanye's been talking about Adidas.
Yeah, they did a collaboration, and I think some of the photos of the kids and everything is part of that collaboration as well. But this is just a creative director designer.
This woman that we're looking at has like this bright. This is the picture that I didn't want to show when I touched on it briefly last week. Hassan sent it to me. And this woman with bright red hair like Raggedy Ann, except shiny and gross. And shiny face, like she almost looks like a mannequin. Like she has a wax museum person. And this fancy like Star Trek bad guy outfit or something. I don't know Star Trek. And her hands are all red with like paint or like bloody hands. And then the worst part of it is she's holding two doll-looking things that are just covered in shiny red paint. No clothes on these dolls. And it just looks wrong. And this is a woman who's working with Balenciaga. Is she designing the children's clothes too?
Well, I do want to say, if I may, that, and maybe we can leave this, we can go back to you guys.
Thank you.
But,
sorry, kids.
If I may say, I just want to say that, like, she may be the creative director and she may design some of the stuff, but the head designer of Balenciaga is a guy named Demna, who is extremely like creative person that I don't think should be blamed for, because sometimes there's a lot of like different things that's happening that the creative gets accused of.
Right.
And
true.
So now there's like all these people, even songs, burn Balenciaga and all this like.
Yeah.
But the creative, like Demna, who may not have anything to do with the promotions or the, these sick photo shoots even, he might not even be having approval of his own designs, of his own clothing that he is the designer of. So
he may not have approved that stuff.
100%.
Right.
He's just the creative who's designing the actual clothing.
Yeah.
But then there's all these different marketing people and sales teams and people that come up with all these plans of marketing and promotion that he may or may not be involved or privy to. And I'm not necessarily just defending him, but I think a lot of
the whole industry, the whole world is corrupt.
The whole world is corrupt.
Yeah.
And a lot of somewhat innocent creative artists sometimes maybe get in that, you know, and then it's like.
Yeah.
But I wonder if he's the one that gives the okay. I mean, if he's the CEO of the company, does he, at the end of the day, you know what I mean? Does he give the okay? Is he accept things, or you know what I mean?
But he's not the CEO.
Oh, okay.
He's just like a creative guy.
Yeah, like so.
And he may not have even given the green light. Is what you're saying? You don't know if he did or didn't.
Yeah, these companies, Balenciaga, Gucci, Louis Vuitton, they hire every 8 years like a new president. Like they hire, you know, Tom Ford or Marc Jacobs, and right now Demna is the head designer at Balenciaga, but he's still hired by that company, and that company is owned by other companies, right?
Yeah.
So, and Demna's just a kid that went to art school, went to design school, and you know, and this is he goes and gets a job and makes clothes, and then they have a bigger way of selling and promoting that maybe he's not privy to. And then it sucks because then everyone's like, burn Balenciaga, cancel Balenciaga. And it's his actual design and art that we're now canceling because of a marketing plan that maybe is demonic.
Right.
Well, the only thing, because I'm glad you brought context to that, because obviously, like you said, we want to blame Balenciaga. But at the same time, I do think that Balenciaga does get a little bit of blame, because the only reason why I say, because I look at the example of this, is that if I have my studio and I have a teacher that I hire, and the teacher does something inappropriate or plays music with like sexual music, let's just say, it plays "My Neck, My Back," right, by Lil Bossy or whatever.
I'm not familiar.
So
I'm sheltered still.
Or the Whisper song. She plays the Whisper song and she dances
Yin Yang
with
Twins?
the Yin Yang Twins, right? And then there's no clean version, and then he's teaching 5-year-olds, right?
Right.
If a parent complains or writes a review, they're writing a review to the gifted of dance, right? So
it's on you.
Even though it had nothing to do with me, I told this person, don't only do clean music, only do that. But if I'm not there and they do it, it ultimately looks bad on me. You know what I mean? So it's good that we give context to, like, I'm glad that Hassan is giving context to maybe this guy, the head designer, has nothing to do with it, which is good. But as a whole, that's something they have to sit down and be like, well, who approved this or who did this and why is this allowed? You know what I mean? Because then at the end of the day, we have to point the finger at Balenciaga. It's their company.
Right.
But Demna is not in charge of Balenciaga, is all I'm saying.
Right.
The guy who's making the clothing.
And they're trying to sue him.
No, I don't know if they're trying to sue him, but what happens is when we start to say burn Balenciaga and cancel Balenciaga, what happens is now images of Demna's work being burnt.
Yeah.
And it's the same as if like
I see.
And it's work that's not even offensive necessarily sometimes.
Right.
So he could be doing
and the
something.
issue is
like
not
they're-
the clothing.
Right. Right.
It's just like people, to me, it's kind of like people bandwagoning against, well, this is a different notion, but it's kind of like the people bandwagoning against Harvey Weinstein or Jeffrey Epstein, when to me, Balenciaga is just part of the whole rest of the culture. They just went a little outside the line that people are used to, when the line has already been way overcrossed by the whole industry.
Yeah. And I think that social media oftentimes tends to pick and choose which good story that they're or bad story that they're gonna piggyback
Yeah.
on and make a thing. But
Yeah.
there's plenty of them that are like
Right, you
issues.
could blame the women who were sleeping with
Right.
Harvey Weinstein
Right.
because nobody held a gun to their head, to my knowledge.
Right. But I mean, to what Hassan is saying, it's unfortunate for Demna. I don't know him, but just what Hassan's saying.
Like employees of Balenciaga, everyone doesn't agree with all that.
Yeah, but
yeah, they work there. And so, how can you work at that terrible company?
You know what I'm saying?
Look at all these terrible companies. There isn't a company that's not terrible to work for almost.
Right, and especially the ones that are as big as they are. But
yeah,
I mean Demna, unfortunate for him, but he does have to take that, and it sucks.
Yeah.
But it's like then they have to work within the company to figure out how do we make sure this doesn't happen, because Demna's gonna get blamed, and it's unfortunate, but Balenciaga is a part of this. So people are gonna look at Balenciaga like there's rappers that Christian rappers, I won't say who, because they might be watching, but who burn the Balenciaga shoes.
Oh
right?
yeah.
Like they burn their stuff because they don't want nothing to do with it. But Hassan makes a good point. Maybe there's people within it that aren't a part of that, but they also have to take the hit.
Yeah.
But if you're involved in a company, then it's unfortunate, but that's what it is.